Abstract images of fruit, colourful collections of books, styled sets of stationery. If you're looking to get creative with your photography and make the ordinary seem extraordinary, then still life photography is probably for you. One of the best things about still life photography is that you can get creative and test your photography skills using almost anything you have laying around the house or studio. You also don't need very much equipment, and if that's not enough to persuade you, still life images can also be a great way to make money. What is still life photography? Still life photography is basically any image depicting an inanimate object, either natural or man-made. Often confused with product photography, still life photography is often more an arty or conceptual form of photography. It isn't necessarily designed to sell the item that you're photographing. This allows much more artistic freedom than product photography, which means it's a great genre of photography to test and challenge your creativity. Still life photography ideas. There's no shortage of inspiration online when it comes to still life photography. If you search on Google, you'll get thousands of still life photography examples, not to mention the numerous classes you'll find on Karl Taylor Education. But get creative with your ideas, make them your own. Still life photography could be any combination of objects, typically inanimate subject matter. Take the time to look around you and think about creative ways to showcase everyday objects or represent them in a different way. Here's a look at some great still life images our members have created. Camera choices for still life photography. One of the biggest draws of still life photography is its simplicity. You can shoot great still life images with any camera. Whether you're using a medium format camera, full frame camera, crop sensor or a mirrorless camera, it doesn't matter. Just get it out of the bag and get on with it. Best lenses for still life photography. Similarly to product photography, still life photography generally aims to portray an accurate rendition of the item you're photographing. This means the best choice of lens is one that produces minimal distortion. For full frame, crop sensors or mirrorless cameras, this is generally around 50 to 100 millimeters. Macro lenses are also a good choice. Useful accessories for still life photography. As I mentioned before, you don't need much more than your camera and a subject to get started with still life photography. However, other additional accessories that you will find useful include a tripod, a selection of backgrounds, and different props, as well as reflector boards or sheets of white card. A tripod is particularly useful for making you think carefully about your composition and allowing you the freedom to adjust your subject's position and composition without disturbing the camera viewpoint each time. Still life photography lighting. When it comes to still life photography, you could use natural light, you could use studio lights, you could even use desk lamps if you wanted to. The key thing is how you control the light. I've shot wine shots with studio lights, IKEA desk lamps, and even no light at all apart from natural light. It's about problem solving and working with what you've got and understanding how to make lighting work for you. Here's 4 important tips to help you shoot better still life images. Number 1, develop a creative concept. Having a strong concept is key to creating a standout image. Think about what you want to say with your photograph and how you're going to say that. Take this image as an example. I didn't simply place lipsticks amongst fishhooks because I had the props lying around the studio. I very deliberately placed those items together to provoke thoughts about lipstick or makeup being used to hook the opposite or same sex. The image highlights concepts relating to relationships, desire, and sexual attraction, and it utilizes small, subtle messages within the narrative. This example is a more conceptual still life image, but still life photography can also be more simplistic. This image of the rubber ducks, for example, is far more straightforward, using simple items stolen from my kids, and highlights the problems of pollution on the planet and its impact on wildlife. This image was a concept I created and intended to highlight mental health issues, and whilst it's very simple, it only uses 2 lights, I felt it was equally dramatic and thought-provoking. Number 2, plan your image. Once you've developed a concept for your shoot, don't just rush into it. Planning is a key part of any successful image. As you may have seen in some of my photography classes, I always take the time to think about and plan a shoot. And a key part of this process is pre-visualization. I'll often draw simple sketches to help visualize my idea, which helps me see where I want to place my items, what angle I'll need, and where my lighting will come from. By taking the time to plan the shoot, you can often preempt the challenges you may face. For example, with our flying tea food shot, which I did with professional food photographer and stylist Anna Pushtanikova, by quickly sketching our idea, I knew where we needed to place items, how we could suspend the items without them interfering with each other or the lights, and what the different steps would be to get the final image. In another, more simple example, I used a basic drawing to determine the composition and what props would be needed for this whiskey photography live show. Mood boards are another great way you can plan your shoot. Look around for ideas that inspire you or for types of lighting you like and put those together to help you create your final image. I did something similar with my Clinique style advertising shoot, where I replicated the clean, fresh style typical of Clinique advertising images. Before starting the shoot, I collected some reference images that I could use to guide me throughout the shoot, particularly when it came to the lighting and feel of the image. Number 3. Lead your viewer's eye in the image. When it comes to photography, the goal is to create an image that stays with the viewer. This sounds straightforward, but how do we do that? Quite simply, we have to maintain the viewer's attention, and to do this we have to keep their eye in the frame. Many photographers would refer to this as composition, but to maintain the viewer's attention we need more than just the rule of thirds or good composition. Consider introducing elements such as leading lines, layers, symmetry, and particular colours or combinations. Each of these will help add interest to your still life composition and therefore keep your viewer's attention. In addition to these common techniques, I also incorporate elements relating to the science of our human visual system to help guide the viewer's eye in and around the image. Number 4. Get creative with your lighting. If you've taken the time to plan and think about a shoot, you should have a basic idea of what lighting you want and how you're going to achieve this before you even start shooting. Lighting is one of the easiest ways to get creative with your photography, but the key thing with any image is to use your lighting to convey a particular mood or emotion. You can create many different results, even if you're photographing the same subject. I've used everything from bare bulbs with cut-out pieces of card to more specialist modifiers that make the job easier. But whether you only have one light or just a window or 10 lights, it doesn't matter. You can still create and achieve many different creative results. The possibilities are endless when it comes to shooting still life photos, and the points I've mentioned previously will provide a good guide to help you get started. The next step is to look for inspiring ideas and practice. Remember to think carefully about your shot, what you want to achieve and how you can do that. Don't be afraid to try new things and don't let a lack of equipment be an excuse. Get creative with what you have. You might be surprised by what you can come up with. Well, I hope you found this useful. Thanks very much for watching. Get my completely free photography course with no sign-up required. You can also access our free 90-page ebook. Just click the link or go to carltayloreducation.com.